Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today I have a stack of books next to me and we are going to be doing my top books of 2024. There is not 24 books here, but there is more than 10. So I'm just going to say my favourite books of 2024, or my top rated books of 2024. So we have a stack here that's kind of longer than what you can see. That is my 5-star reads. And then we have a few honourable mentions. So these ones weren't quite 5 stars, but I really like them. So we're going to start with those ones, I think. So let's just get into it. Grab a snack, grab a cup of tea, get cozy. Let's talk about my favourite books of last year. Okay, so these are in no particular order. I might do the 4.5s first and then do the 4.75s maybe, but there isn't a preference of book. All of these I loved. Well, I suppose there's a preference in that some of these are 4.5 and some of these are 4.75. But anyway, so the first one I'm going to mention is A Touch of Darkness. This one I rated a 4.5. This is by Scarlett St. Clair and it's a Hades and Persephone retelling. I just heard a random man go, yo, in the street. I'm like, why? Say it's a weekday and it's like 3 o'clock. Please, can you not? Anyway, so this book I read in November and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's kind of like an urban fantasy retelling of Hades and Persephone. It's kind of enemies to lovers, it's kind of forbidden love, which Hades and Persephone is. It's like a 7-book series currently. I don't know if more's coming out, but you kind of go between the Hades and Persephone and the Hades saga books. So you've got this one, and then the next one is A Game of Fate, which is this book but in Hades' point of view. So they're both following the same storyline, but this is in Persephone's, the A Touch of whatever, and the A Game of whatever is in Hades' point of view. Yeah, I just loved this. It had such good tension and chemistry. Honestly, chef's kiss. Like, Scarlett St. Clair, you have me dying to read the rest of the series, but it is January. My main goal for this month is Onyx Storm, so maybe in February we can or at the end of January we go to this series. But right now, yes, love this book, really highly recommend it. This next book I also, why am I doing this? I'm not praying. The next book I also rated a 4.5 stars, and that is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. This one, I'm fairly sure it's a YA. I rated it 4.5, like I said. It's you're following Evie, and she accidentally she's looking for a job, and she has this run-in with the town's villain, and he offers her a job because he's just so intrigued, and she said she needs a job and he's looking for an assistant. So she's kind of like, beggars can't be choosers, he can't be worse than my last boss, and she goes for it. And they have the sweetest, most wholesome relationship. They're not even together, but I love them. And the villain is like, I don't know how to explain it. I just love him, and I love Evie. I think she's a great main character. She's one of my favourite main characters from 2024. Yeah, it's just, she's so relatable, it's so funny. I just highly recommend. The next one, which I rated a 4.75, is the next book in the series. It's Apprentice to the Villain. I won't tell you much about what happens because obviously this is following on from the previous, but the story has continued, their relationship has progressed a little, and again, great banter. The found families really started to take form in this book, and I love that. And I am not happy about having to wait all the way till August to read the final book. Okay, I need it now. I need it injected into my veins yesterday. Thank you. By a Thread by Lucy Score, also rated a 4.75. This book I was putting off for like a year, and then I read it in a 24-hour reading challenge, and I did read it over the 2 days, but I ate it up. I read it so much quicker than I thought I would have, because part of the reason that I was putting off the book is because it's like a brick. It's taller than a regular paperback, it's thick, it's really heavy. but you don't feel it. It just absolutely flew by. So this book, you're following Ali. Do you get, I think you get Dominic's point of view in this, why have I completed? Yeah. It's a dual POV. You're following Ali and Dominic. So Ali has just lost her job because of Dominic. He got her fired. And his mum feels guilty because that's who, he was with his mum at the time of the firing. And she offers Ali a job at it's kind of like The Devil Wears Prada. They own a magazine. And it's kind of going from there. It's kind of, well, technically the employer is the mum, because she is like the owner of the magazine. She is the top dog of the magazine. He's like creative director, but he is still a higher up, so it's kind of boss employee, kind of forced proximity because they have to work together on things. And he is very grumpy. He is very grumpy, and then sometimes he's an arsehole, but she ends up bringing out this side of him that is like really quite caring. I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. It had such good banter. Yeah, they just have such good banter. I think like the beginning, it's like almost foreplay, them arguing. He just really enjoys riling her up and having a full-on argument with her, and I find it hilarious. So highly recommend this book. And finally, for the under 5 stars, we have Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. This one I've tabbed. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I don't think I actually highlighted anything. I think I just tabbed the scenes that I liked. Did I? Yeah, this one I just tabbed. I haven't like annotated anything, I don't think. I think I just annotated scenes I wanted to go back to, because yeah, I've annotated like banter, cute moments, memorable scenes, and spice. It was just really good. This one, again, you've got dual point of view between Raphael and Ellie. So Raphael is a single dad to the cutest little boy. How old is he again? I honestly can't remember how old Nico is, but he's not that old. I want to say he's older than the age of 5, under the age of 10. Somewhere in that 5-year gap. And Nico really is the sweetest kid. So obviously this is book 2 of the Lakefront Billionaires series. So we do meet Raphael and get some backstory into Nico in the first book. But basically Nico had found out, I think it was like a year before this story taking place, that he's going to go blind at some point in his life and his vision is slowly declining. And as a dad, that's something that Raphael's really struggling with, and he's just trying to do everything he can to make sure Nico is happy, and Nico is his one responsibility. So as in the series title, Raphael is a billionaire. So he just has a bunch of money, but he tries not to spoil Nico too much, but at the same time will like bought a 3D printer just to 3D print like toys like of his favorite superheroes just to keep him happy, and like so he's got these things that he loves. He's a grumpy man because he's also been through like a bad divorce, but he's just an absolute sweetheart and he is such a good dad. And then you've got Ellie, who is Nico's nanny, and she is a musician. She's a songwriter. Oh my god. You can't see it because it's off camera. But 2 of the books in this pile were holding up another book and it's just fallen down. I got such a fright there. I don't even know what I was saying now. Anyway, I think I was saying Ellie is a songwriter and she hasn't written in quite a long time, but she loves music and she's like teaching Nico, I think it was piano or something. They end up going on holiday together, so it's a little bit forced proximity because Nico is absolutely in love with Ellie. It's really sweet. He adores her and she absolutely adores him. This was just full of so many cute moments, so many sweet moments, so many funny moments. I just absolutely ate up this book. So I really recommend this series as a whole. You can't tell from my pile, but of the 5 stars that I've had this year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wasn't that 6? 1, 2, 3, 5, kind of 6 were purple. So purple's really been my colour this year, which checks out because I am a BTS stan and purple is ARMY's colour. So anyway, So let's get on to my 5-star reads. These are in order of me reading them from latest to earliest, because this is how I took them off my shelf. So technically the latest one is not here because I read it on Kindle. I don't have a physical copy yet. But it is A False Start by Elsie Silver. I loved that book. I will talk about it alongside this one because I also loved the front runner. So this is book 3. A False Start is book 4. You've got in this one Stefan and Mira. So Stefan is like the bad guy of book 1 and Mira is the vet. And then book 4 is following Griffin, who is Stefan's closest friend in this town, and Nadia, who is Stefan's sister, who is significantly younger than Griffin. So in this book, you've got, I think what I loved about this book the most is the fact that Stefan doesn't really care how people see him. He'll do what he needs to achieve his goal, even if he's not necessarily the best person because of it, but deep down he really is a caring person and he just wants to fulfill someone's wish who is no longer able to fulfill it, is the best way I can describe it. I've just hit myself in the face with the book. So their relationship was just, I felt they had such a deep understanding of each other and I loved them. There's kind of forced proximity because she in some ways works for Stefan and she has to see him every day to look after a foal who nearly died at the beginning. So they because they spend so much time together, they really form a bond. And then for A False Start, I loved the emotional depth of both characters. So I'm gonna put this one down. So yeah, A False Start. Nadia is, I want to say 12, 13, 14 years younger than Griffin, something along those lines. And he's had a bit of a bad time of it. He's had a head injury that has left him with no confidence and he feels like he's shamed his family based off of decisions he made after said head injury and ruined his career and all these things. So he is not doing great mentally and in life in general. And then Nadia has come from an awful family background and she has had to live with that longer than Stefan ever had to because he got to go away to like a private school. So Nadia just kind of was left with no safe person in, I want to say it's Romania, with a horrible family. So she's got a lot of trauma, a lot of emotional issues. Actually, you know what? I think she hasn't got a lot of emotional issues. She is someone who had to mature way before her time and wants the best for herself and doesn't necessarily think she'll get it, but she wants it for herself anyway. There is a third act conflict, which for once actually seemed, I just thought it made sense for the story, for the characters, for their progression. And I loved it. I loved every second. It was a great book. So those two I loved out of the Gold Rush Ranch series. Next, we have Fall With Me by Becca Mack. This one is the 4th book in the Playing for Keeps series. I want to say it's Playing for Keeps. I'm not actually completely sure if that is this one. I am fairly sure this is the Playing for Keeps series. This is book 4. This one only came out in July, I think, June or July, I think it was. And I was really looking forward to this series, to this book. Partly for the cover, I can't lie, look how gorgeous it is. It's probably my favourite cover of every book that's been published this year that I've seen. I love it. So you've got Jackson Riley. This is a sports romance, it's hockey. He joined the team, like he's the latest to join the team, basically. And everyone, the found family in this series is unparalleled. I love, this is probably my favourite found family of every book series I've ever read. Maybe aside from ACOTAR, okay? But that's different because that's fantasy. Out of romance, this is my favourite found family. I love every single character. And I love all of their relationships and the way they interact and the way they love each other. I love them. The boys have a group called Britney's Bitches, and literally the whole time they're like, Jackson, we're waiting for you to need us. Please let us assemble Britney's Bitches. Because the whole premise is that they're like, oops, I did it again. And Britney's Bitches is the boys getting together to be like, guys, I fucked up. Help me. How do I fix it? Obviously not like big fuck ups, but like the little ones where you're not going to break up over it, but you want to make up, you know? And they do get to assemble for Jackson. Anyway, love Jackson. He is a playboy, but he just deep down is such a softie. He adopted a cat in the third book, and he's just like the sweetest cat dad ever. And then you've got Lennon, who we haven't met previously. She is a new character to this series. And she's just started a new job working with the Vancouver Vipers, which is his team. And they had like a one-night stand and then realised they were meant to be working together, essentially. She like took the job after, or like she took the job but didn't start till after the one-night stand happened. And the one-night stand happened on the honeymoon she was meant to be on with the fiance that cheated on her. So yeah, it's a lot, but it's so good. Honestly, Jackson broke my heart so many times. There is reasons for it and I will not go into it, but just read this whole series, okay? I think Consider Me was my least favourite. It's still really good. I think I probably would rate it higher now based on the series as a whole. This is a 5-star series, even though I've only rated 2 of the books 5 stars. But it's a 5-star series. I just love them all. I might reread them shortly, to be honest with you. I love them. Next, we have Daydream by Hannah Grace. Again, a really highly anticipated release for this year. This did not disappoint. So this one's Henry's story. We've been looking forward to Henry's story since Icebreaker, the first book. I will say, the Henry you think you have in Icebreaker is not the Henry we actually have. And I do think there has been a change of character, to be completely honest. I do think the author has decided to go a different way with his character, but I love it. I love the direction she's gone in, because he is the most thoughtful human being ever. And he has, they think he's got ADHD, possibly autism, but I think it's ADHD. And he's really struggling academically. The role of team captain for the hockey team, again, hockey romance, has been thrust upon him and he does not really want it. And he's struggling with that. And he's got so many things he's struggling with that he's just keeping to himself because he doesn't want to feel like a burden to other people. And then you've got Hallie, who I think is new to the series. I don't think we'd seen her previously. She has like just broken up with a boyfriend who just wasn't good for her. He was a bit of a dick. He wasn't like cheating on her or abusing her or being bad to her, but he wasn't being good to her, and he wasn't very supportive, and all her friends were actually his friends, and they just kind of put up with her, and he never tried to change that. He never tried to make sure that they were her friends as well. I don't know. He wasn't a good boyfriend. And she's very like socially anxious and not very confident. So in the story, you see Hallie's confidence grow as she decides to split from this not very nice boyfriend and go out and try and find her own friends, people who want to be friends with her for her. And she does, and she just really builds this confidence. And then you've got Henry, who also has like a lot of character development and growth as well. It's just really good. Just read it. Read the whole series. I loved all of them. Icebreaker will always be my favourite though. The next two I'm going to talk about together. I read these in different times, but I just picked them off the shelf together. It's Good Girl Bad Blood and As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. Both of these books, 5 stars. Well, all of these ones I've just talked about here, 5 stars. But both of these books were 5 stars for completely different reasons. This one had me questioning everything. I really did not know what was going to happen. And at the end, I was just heartbroken for Pip. I just really, really enjoyed it. This one, I don't even know, like, I've just never been so concerned for a character in my life. She's not even real. But to me, she feels real. This solidified it. And this was like a roller coaster of emotions. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I won't go into what they're about purely because I don't want to spoil anything, because this is book 2 and 3 of the Good Girls Get a Murder series. So all I can say is I really highly recommend this series. Even if you're an adult, this is young adult, I really recommend. It's just really good. The next 2 I will talk about together also, because they were actually one, I didn't read them one after the other, but they were 5 stars one after the other. And that is Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. I'm going to hold them this way, because then to you, I think that's correct. Yeah, that should be right. A lot of people didn't love Ruthless Vows as much as Divine Rivals, and I don't understand how. How could you not? So I'll talk about Divine Rivals, because this one is not going to spoil anything. So you've got Iris and Roman, who are both working for a newspaper called the something Gazette. What's it called? Oath Gazette. They live in a place called Oath, and this is taking place during a war between 2 gods. So the gods have conscripted humans basically to fight on their behalf. Which, because why not get mortals involved in godly things, you know? Anyway, so Iris's brother has signed up to fight for one of the gods. I will not lie, I have completely forgotten their names, but one is a man, one is a woman. He signed up for the woman. And Iris is like heartbroken, she doesn't know what to do. Her and her mum are so worried. And so anyway, she signs up for the Oath Gazette to, well, she likes writing anyway, but also just to kind of get a little bit like of information essentially. And Roman is also there, and he's also a author for the Gazette. And you're kind of going based on that. So they both have typewriters which write to each other, and they don't know that it's each other that they're writing to, because at the Gazette they are rivals, hence the rivals part of Divine Rivals. But they are starting to fall for each other through their letters, which is really sweet. And then they end up, Iris essentially signs up to be a war correspondent, that's the word I'm thinking of. And she goes quite close to the front lines to be able to write articles about what's actually happening. So she signs up with a different newspaper, I think. And Roman follows her. And it goes from there. So it was just, I don't know what it was, but when these 2 fall in love, it's a YA, so nothing happens. There is like mentions, or like it alludes to spice. Nothing ever actually, like, you don't see anything. Nothing's described really, but it alludes to. I've never read something so romantic about like just everything. I love them so much. And then this book is a continuation on from the ending of this book, so I won't say anything. I don't want to spoil it, but I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I just thought I was so dying for these 2 to be together and live because there's a war going on. You're not sure that they're gonna live. I was just really rooting for these 2, and I felt very strongly about that. So I thoroughly recommend this series. And it's only a duology, so it's not like it's a big task of a series. The next book is no surprise, because when this author so far has not had anything below a 5 stars from me. So I had a feeling, and that is Funny Story by Emily Henry. Listen, I've annotated this one. I have the hardback. I really want, oh, they're not, you can't see them because they're up at the top. I really want to annotate all of them, so I really want to reread them. But this one I did start annotating as I was going, because I didn't get the sprayed edges, because to be honest I didn't like them, and I wanted to be able to annotate. Again, I think I've just tabbed. I haven't actually highlighted, but I do want to go back when I do eventually do a reread and highlight things, because Emily Henry's writing is just in a league of its own. I can't explain exactly what it is I like about her writing. I just find she has a really good mix of getting straight to the point, concise. Every word has a reason for being there, and slightly flowery, wanting to romanticize things a bit, and just puts perfect descriptions to things that you can't explain yourself when you're like romanticizing your life or when you're having good feelings or whatever. So that's the only way I can describe it with my tiny pea brain that's really not intelligent when it comes to words in the slightest. And to be honest, even though I love books, I always have, and I really enjoyed doing English at school, I wasn't good at it. I couldn't get higher than a C in English literature or language. I'm not good at dissecting people's writing styles. My brain can't comprehend it. Maybe if I put a lot of like research into it, I could, but I'm not someone who really can discern different writing styles. But sometimes I read things and I think this feels similar. So I'm currently reading The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, and I think her writing is similar to Emily Henry's, but I can't fully explain how. I think it is that it's to the point while also adding in some moments of like not whimsical writing, but more poetic. It's not poetic writing, but it's got a slight poetic style, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm sure I don't need to tell you what this book is about. Everyone and their mum has heard about Funny Story. It's these two people, they're now living together because their exes decided they wanted to be together themselves and they're left with nowhere to live, so they have to live together. I love them. It's all I can say. I love them. Listen, at first, was I turned off by the fact that Miles was just getting high in his room? Yes. But like, he was heartbroken, okay? He might as well have been listening to All By Myself on repeat, you know? And he stopped doing that. And when he kind of got out of his depressive state of losing what he thought was the love of his life, he was a lot more of a normal guy that wasn't just getting stoned in his room, like hotboxing his room and watching old rom-coms. So yeah, it's Emily Henry. I'll read her shopping list, to be honest. Okay, the next book is What You're Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Aoyama, translated by Alison Watts. This book follows, it's got I think 5 or 6 different chapters. I want to say it's 5. Yeah, this book's got 5 chapters following 5 different people who all live in the same sort of area in Japan as each other. And in this area, there's a community centre that has a library. And basically, if you live in their area code, you can go to the library pretty much for free. They have different events and stuff on at the community centre, and a library is there as well. In the library, you've got the librarian called, I can't remember what the first name is, but Miss Komachi. So, what is her name? Sayuri? Is it Sayuri Komachi? No, Sayuri's a different, I'm thinking of a Bleach character, I think. Hang on, let me have a look. Did I say Sayuri? It was Sayuri Komachi. I've had to scroll through quite a lot of this book to try to find the name. So yes, the librarian is the librarian and like essentially the trainee librarian are the only 2 characters who are in every chapter, I think. So you've got Nozomi Moringa. She's training, or she wants to be a librarian, but she works there. And the actual librarian is Sayuri Komachi. She is this woman who you ask her for a recommendation or to look up books, basically, and she will give you a list of recommendations, and one of them will be completely different to what you've asked for or completely different to the rest of the books. And usually that book teaches the person something that really resonates with them at a current moment in their life. So each character that you're following is someone at a different stage of life. So you've got someone who is 21, she's working in sales, and she's just kind of like, is this really what I want to do? You've got like different people and you're following them, and they all go at the same community centre and they find peace and hope and answers in the library, and I love it. And it was just really hopeful and sweet, and I loved it. So I really recommend this, and it's a short read. It's just under 200 pages, just over 200 pages, sorry. Okay, next, I probably could have put this with the last one, not that last one, but with a different, it's another book in a series that I've already talked about. and that is Unravel Me by Becca Mack. This is the third book. Just since I put Divine Rivals together and As Good as Dead with Good Girl, Bad Blood, I probably could have put this with Fall With Me, but anyway, yeah, this is book 3 in the series. This one was also 5 stars, obviously. You're following Adam and Rosie. Rosie is, I think she's a trainee vet, or she's just becoming a vet, something like that. She's a veterinary student and a single mum. And then you've got Adam, who I want to say he's the goalie of the hockey team. And Adam is the sweetest man. So in books 1 and 2, he has the most toxic girlfriend who's clearly only staying with him for his money. Man finally leaves it. Thank God. And he is such a sweetheart. He is not like the athlete, the hockey player who just wants to sleep around. He's never been that man. He was with his ex-girlfriend since he was a teenager. Like, he is a devoted man who just wants to settle down with someone he loves and have a nice family life. Enter Rosie. They have the sweetest relationship. Genuinely, I cannot tell you how wholesome this book is. Yes, there's smut, okay? Not quite as much smut as Fall With Me, because I'll be honest with you, my gosh, there was a lot of smut in that book. I loved all of it, but there was a lot. This is probably the least smutty, the least horny out of all the books, but still, Adam can fuck, okay? That's all I'm going to say about that one. I think from here, we've got another hockey romance. How many hockey romances is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 hockey romances with 5 stars this year. The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer. This one is the second book in the Vancouver Storm series. We're following Rory and Pippa. So Pippa is the one from the Facebook. Rory and Hazel, I was trying to say who is Pippa's sister, is what I was meant to say, and my brain got mixed up. Rory and Hazel. Hazel is Pippa's sister. Rory is new to the hockey team, and he was rivals with what's his face from the Facebook. What is his called? Jamie. So he was Jamie's, I think they were friends at one point, and they were rivals because they were on different teams. So this is Rory. They've made up, they're now on the same team. And yes, Hazel, who is Pippa's sister, as I've said 3 times now. So this book, I think at one point they kind of fake date because she's trying to make her ex, who is also a hockey star, jealous. Not jealous, she does not want to get back at him, but he's constantly trying to get her back and she adamantly does not want him. So she just kind of wants him to leave her alone. Enter Rory, who also is just boy obsessed in the best way. Okay, again, it's smutty, it's cute, it's got good banter. I really recommend this. I love this series. I need to read The Ringman. I've been really looking forward to The Ringman since reading this book. I read this book in January or February, I want to say. I need to read it this month. Final 2 books. We have Redeemed by Lauren Asher. This is the 4th book in the Dirty Airs series. I did read the whole series in January. This one I loved the most. Can I remember anything about it? Not a lot, because I read like 120 books since reading this one. But you've got Chloe and Santiago. So Santiago is whoever the girl in the Facebook's brother. So he is a F1 racer, and something happens and he is no longer an F1 racer. And then you've got Chloe, this is the first time we meet her. She's gone to Italy to find a long lost father, and she ends up bumping into Santiago a few times, and they form, well, I think they start fake dating at one point as well. There's a lot of fake dating, and I love fake dating, okay? It's great. She's got a lot of bad things going on with her mother, and then he's got a lot of bad things going on personally, and my heart breaks for Santiago in this so many times. I don't want to say what happens. You'll find out in the book if you read it. But this was my favourite. It was so heartwarming. It was a beautiful book. I think I tabbed one thing. Because at one point, Chloe says to him, personally, I don't care if it takes you a minute or an hour to get up. All that matters is you do. And that's basically for what's wrong with him, what's going on in his life, Chloe doesn't pity him for it, and she encourages him to get back on his feet and encourages him to think of all the things he can do, that he still can do, that he has all the opportunities for, and basically teaches him how to live again. So good. Honestly, that one's a tearjerker, I'll tell you now. The final book. The first book I read this year, and my first 5-star of the year. This year? Well, now it's 2025. My first read of 2024, my first 5-star also, was Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I haven't tabbed this one. I probably will go back and read it. This one we're following Julian and Dahlia. So Julian is Raphael's... Were they brothers or cousins? I can't remember. And Dahlia, they've known each other for a long time. She had moved away. She was in like reality TV for like a design TV show, in a relationship with someone else who worked on this show. That's ended, and she's been really like fucked over with everything that's happened. Anyway, she goes back home to Lake Wisteria, where this is set, and sees Julian again, and they kind of do a collaboration. He's doing a lot of work in Lake Wisteria with, what's the word I'm trying to say, like real estate and like building or renovating houses, and she's a designer, so they kind of do a little collab, and they have that childhood bickering that they always had, and then it turns into more. It's really good. I love this book. And Love Unwritten, they deal with some serious themes, so maybe if you just look up trigger warnings. I would say for some people they might be triggering on the odd thing, so if you have triggers, maybe just double check. Obviously if it's like dark romance triggers, you probably don't need to check, but just general trauma triggers, maybe have a little look just to be on the safe side. What really got me was the dedication, which is, to those whose love language is words of affirmation, your praise kink is safe with me, and Julian Lopez. I loved Julian. Fully, absolutely loved him. I'm dying to reread this book. There's loads of books I want to reread in this pile actually. But yeah, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, well, 14 5-stars, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5, almost 5 stars that I loved in 2024. I have been speaking for a long time now. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I hope you enjoyed. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them. I like having discussion about books. It's literally my favourite thing to do and to talk about. I talk about books probably every day if I can. So let's have a discussion in the comments. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video if you liked it, and I will see you in the next video, which I don't know what it's going to be, but we'll see. Okay, bye.